Hi, my name is Gwen. Today we're going to be making cookie bars. It's just essentially a really easy cookie dough, and you put it into a square tin and then you bake it, and when it's done you can cut them out into little bar shapes. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is show you guys the ingredients that we're working with. This is the flour, and we're using 1.5 cups of it. Here is a sugar mixture of white and brown, and it's 50-50 of about 1/2 cup white sugar and 1/2 cup brown sugar. Chopped up some chocolate bar as well. You can use semi-sweet if you like, or dark if you like it a little more bitter. We're using a whole stick of butter as well, some vanilla, and then I brought out the baking powder, baking soda, and salt as well to be added into the dry ingredients when we use them. The first thing we're gonna do is mix up our dry ingredients. So I have a medium bowl, and in it I'm going to put the flour, and then measuring out 1/2 teaspoon each of the baking soda and baking powder. That was the baking soda, and this is the baking powder. It's about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so I'm just gonna add a pinch or so. And then this will all get whisked together to combine it. So you just want to whisk until it's thoroughly incorporated. Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna let the dry ingredients sit aside while we cream together our butter and sugar, and we'll be adding this in later, so it can just stay still for a second. But to cream the butter and sugar, you're just going to add your 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of white sugar to about like a medium-sized bowl or large, because it's known to splatter. And then take your stick of butter. It should be about room temperature, so it's a little soft and can be mixed up by your mixer. So you can take that and add it to your sugar in the bowl. Maybe I should have gone with a bigger bowl. Ugh, it might get a little messy, but that's okay. So I have my white sugar and my brown sugar and my butter in the bowl, and then I have a hand mixer, but you can use a stand mixer as well with a paddle attachment, or if you want, you can do it by hand. It might take a little effort and a little bit longer time, but you can still reach the same product. So just on like a medium-high speed, I'm going to use the hand mixer and mix up the butter and sugar until it's like a lighter color and it has a little bit more volume to it, and I will show you what that looks like. So every so often, I'm just taking a spatula and scraping down the sides of the bowl just to make sure that everything is getting incorporated when mixing. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes of mixing so far, and the butter and sugar have been pretty much fully incorporated with each other. You're just gonna add 1 egg to it, and then we're gonna mix that up, and then add the vanilla, and then mix that up as well. One ingredient that I forgot to mention before that you will need for this recipe is an egg. So that's gonna go in at this point after you've creamed your butter and sugar together. So that goes in. At a lower speed, we're gonna mix up the butter and sugar with the egg now. So I'm just adding the teaspoon of vanilla. Now here in this bowl, we should have a butter and sugar mixture, and then the egg and the vanilla are also added in. You can see it's definitely lighter in color, and it's like a fluffy kind of texture. To this, we're gonna add in our dry ingredients that we have sitting to the side, and then let's fold in our chocolate chips too. And then we should be set to go. The dry ingredients, it has, again, the flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt in it. That's just gonna go straight into the creamed mixture. And then you're just gonna fold that dry stuff into the batter, and so it's gonna be very thick. It's gonna look a little too dry at the beginning, but don't worry, it will come together in the end. Okay, so at this point, almost all the dry streaks are gone. This is what the dough looks like. It's very, very thick because of that flour being added in, but it's come together and it's like, it can be formed into a solid dough if it needs to form like this. This is the texture of it. So at this point, I'm gonna add in the chocolate chips or the chocolate chunks that I have here, and those are just gonna be folded in just until they get incorporated into the batter. Now, here we have our completed dough. It should have all come together at this point, and this is what mine looks like right now. It's just very, very much like one big solid mass, but everything has been incorporated. So now we are ready to bake this. To make the bar shapes, I've grabbed a 8x8 container. You can use glass or metal, whatever you have on hand. And then I just sprayed it with some like canola oil and then lined it with the parchment paper. So then, oops, you're just gonna take your dough and you're just gonna empty it out onto the tin and just mash it down into the side so that it spreads out along the edges. Ideally, you just want one layer of the cookie dough, one even layer, so it can cook nicely. It's a little sticky, so don't be afraid to get in there to make sure it's all spread out nice and evenly. I finished spreading out my cookie dough onto the container, and so this is what it looks like. And then I'm just gonna throw this into the oven for about maybe 30 minutes since it's a glass container, and if you're using metal, maybe about 25 minutes, and then just check on it and to see if it's done. I'm gonna just put this in the oven. And then we will check on this in a little bit. Okay, so I took the cookie bar out of the oven after about 25 minutes. I checked it with a knife and it pulled out clean. It's been sitting here cooling for about maybe like 20 minutes or so. One of my favorite things about this cookie bar is that it still stays soft in the inside, so like sometimes with a cookie it might turn all hard, but with the cookie bar it's really easy. It's really easy to get that soft inside but like still have that crunch on the outside, which is something I personally love a lot with cookies. Let me show you what we have. So here's the cookie bar. It's one big block right now, so I'm just gonna cut off a little chunk. You can cut it into whatever shape or size you want. So I'm just gonna go with a little corner piece here. And so you have, it's about like this thick, but it's still so soft on the inside, and you get that hard texture on the outside. So this is great by itself, or you could enjoy it with like a scoop of ice cream. That would be super perfect to go along with this. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it.